Welcome back to Blurrscraft. We're gonna keep working on this piece, and I got a little blue left over in my palette from yesterday, so we're gonna see if I can. Yeah, it's not dry, so this stuff definitely takes a long time to dry, just like oil paints. So I got some blue already in there. Snag some white from over here. Apparently the green that's in here too is waking up a little bit. It's good to know as well. So we're gonna do some more blue, some more water. It's actually a very vibrant blue. Put a little touch of yellow ochre in it to kind of gray it out a little bit without pushing it too far into the green tones. We'll see how this works. So what do you got in the screen? You got this, you can see that really good, so we'll just start right there. So we are getting into a little bit more detail-y now with this piece. So I'm gonna have to take a little bit more time to coat everything because I don't want to just be splashing this blue all over the wall I already painted. So I'm gonna take a little bit more time, but that's all right because this technique already saves me time. So I'm not gonna be losing it. I'm just gonna be using it. I'm gonna go ahead and make this frame this same blue, and maybe these poles as well. And it does look very blue right now, and in fact it'll probably shade up a little bit into like baby blue, but I will wash everything with black oil wash and some brown oil wash, so hopefully this won't be too bright, and if it is, I can always mix this with a little bit more of the yellow ochre and it will see my palette. All I really have is a little bit of the blue, a little bit of the white, and this is how the white reacted to the green that is already here. So if I add a little bit of yellow ochre in here, I can get kind of a green gray out of the two colors. So before we decide to put any on this pipe, I'm going to go ahead and do a little highlighting. I'm just going to get a little bit of the white on the tip of this, then get a little bit of the blue, mix it together so that I have like a mid-tone. If you want to see somebody who's really good at this technique, you can look up Totally Not Panicking on Instagram or on YouTube. He paints minis with oil paints, and he's a really good teacher as well. So I would suggest that if you're interested in this style of painting. So I'm just going to put my blue or my mid-tones where I feel like the light would be hitting. So I got my midtones in there, so now I'm going to go and I'm going to grab a little bit of more light color, which I'm just using a straight white. It has mixed in with the green a little bit, but that's alright. And I'm going to mix it actually on the piece so that we get like some, we don't really want pure white sitting there, but we want that blue highlighted up almost to pure white. So I'm just kind of going down the edge of this, and I'm doing a kind of a stippling effect. And where it left like pure white, I'm going to go back and kind of just touch again, and it will mix it down into the mid-tone a little bit more. Kind of a little edge highlighting, and then I can go with a little bit more white. Touch that up. I feel like I need a little bit more on here. When I put the light on, I just try to imagine where the light is hitting from whatever light source, and imagine what it looks like on a item or a structure. So from your guys' perspective, you guys have like this blob of bright here, and it runs down this corner, right? And it's also, you have the reflection of my hand because this is reflective. I'm not going to try to get into that. That's beyond my ability. But you get this like dark line, and then where the light is hitting. So if you can imagine kind of where that is on things, you can go back with your white. And I'll do some more white. Too much white, too much white. And you can kind of put in where you think that bright line would be, where the light is reflecting off. And then if you get too much white, just rinse your brush. You can go back and knock it down a little bit. And it should be still quite bright. Just maybe not quite as, more blended with whatever color it is underneath it. So yeah, that's my basic wet blending technique I use for a lot of things. You can see that it gave it, pretty substantial shading. Or for example, look at the pipe. I did that yesterday. So that's just, easy light source sort of shading thing. Same here. I put the light up here, and you can't even tell that it's white that I put up there. And this camera actually doesn't do it justice. This is a lot more contrast between here and here than you can see on that camera. So I've never used this technique for terrain, so it is quite fun and exciting to do, to use on terrain. But I do have, what, 8 more of these to do, so I kind of need to crank it out, so that's what I'm gonna try to work on. I'm gonna keep working on this. I think I'm gonna just put that pipe in there too. The other great thing about this technique is after you can go back and you can water down like the dark color, thin out your dark color and give it a wash, and that will help pull the shadows out more. So if you feel like you over highlighted and stuff is just too popping, you can bring the shadows back by giving it a wash of whatever dark color was the base. And if you're real sly, you'll darken it up just a little bit more. I don't have, I'm actually kind of doing a limited palette here. I have white, yellow ochre, cadmium yellow, French ultramarine, Algerian crimson, and phthalo green. So I have a limited palette that I'm able to do this on. I don't even have any black, which means for grimdark, not a very good recipe. You kind of would rather have black than white for grimdark, I suppose. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm gonna make it Necromunda-esque, cyberpunk-esque, using these colors. A little bit of a challenge. It'll also make the whole board. It will make the whole board a little bit more consistent with each other because I'm using this limited palette on everything. So. I'm gonna try to get this blue in this crack as best I can. It's bit of a pain, but I will put a bunch of black wash back there. So if I miss anything while I'm painting this, a lot of it will be covered up by the black wash. So. You can see again, I'm just stippling this mid-tone now onto here. After I've already put my dark tone. There's a little bit of green mixed in with this white, which is actually making it similar to this color, which is not a bad thing, but I kind of wish that I had this magenta color mixing in with the white a little bit, because it would reflect this color better than reflecting this color, but that's fine. The cool colors like each other, the warm colors like each other, so. All right, easy peasy shading. Done. Next set of pipes. So I'm gonna do these ones right up here. Get a drink real quick. Another drizzly one out there. What up, War Tiger? Yeah, thank you. The great stuff about this paint I'm finding is it's really high pigment, so it really covers quite well. Even when you do a thin layer wash, it definitely changes the color, so of whatever you're washing. So the colors are quite popping. It might look a little bit more cyberpunky than I initially envisioned, but that's fine. I do like that aesthetic, and if I put enough washes, grimy washes on it, different color grimy washes, I think it'll be fine. Then I probably will go in with some just like black acrylic paint when this dries to kind of set out some like border lines, probably do some wires and stuff in the black, because by the time I get to that point they'll have been covered with 4 or 5 different kinds of paints. So I'm just trying to get these pipes covered. Now this I did yesterday. That seems fairly dry. Does not seem like it's rubbing off on my hand. So that's good. It's got a shorter drying time than actual oil paints, but it has a much longer drying time than acrylics. So, gonna be easy highlight, simply because there's not very much there to highlight. Beautiful. Next piping. And stuff for like this that's kind of like hidden underneath and you don't want to give it a lot of shadow or a lot of highlights, just stick with the mid-tone. Yeah, that's or Tiger, I feel like that's a more efficient way to paint terrain as well. I'm moving around the corner, by the way, because when you, like, if I were to go through and like just using acrylic paints, just be like, okay, all building structure is this blue, and paint everything that blue. I'm then gonna have to, either figure out a way to wet blend that really quickly and use this same technique, or I'm going to have to go back and highlight it to get it to actual, like, really pop. I have developed another technique similar to this, but using acrylic paint, watering it down till it's like a not a wash, somewhere between a wash and a solid paint. And then putting that paint on and then putting water on it and having it, the high pigment paint kind of drip down, and it will make the paint look like it's old and kind of peeling. I do have that on my Mordheim build. When I painted it, I do go through and explain how I use that acrylic wet blending process, kind of. But this is like paint's designed to act that way, so it's achieving that goal even easier. But yes, I do find myself like painting things bright colors and then washing them down and highlighting after that if I need to. But I kind of like this technique of just highlighting it all at once. It's pretty dang time efficient. And if I wasn't like talking on the phone, you know, flapping my jaw, getting distracted, I you could probably whip, using this technique, you could probably whip one of these out in, I don't know, an hour and a half, maybe 2, depending on how many of these little pipes are sticking out, and you have to, because that's really the problem. It's not that it's hard to paint, it's that it's hard to paint. Does that make any sense? I am trying to not get this blue all over stuff I've already painted, too. So it kind of slows down. The more more paint you put on it, the more it's going to kind of slow down. Add some more blue. Add some more white. Get this shading kind of kicked up. I'll put my water over here so that this is closer to my palette. Making me a blue tone down there. Mid blue tone. Oops, I forgot to do this bottom part. And the base coating it with the dark color is very important. If you just start with your mid-tone, then that's going to be like your base tone, and you can really only highlight up from it without kind of reversing your perspective and having to shade down. If that doesn't mess with your brain, more power to you. I have found it easier for some people to keep the shading going in one color, so from dark to light or from light to dark, as opposed to bouncing back and forth from them. So I'm gonna try to make it a little bit brighter on this side, as if the light was shining up on this angle. And the reason I do the stippling technique as opposed to just a straight brush stroke is I like that kind of blotchy, impressionistic sort of style. It has a little bit more of an organic nature, I feel like, than perfect brush strokes. Awesome. I think I'll do this blue too, just because it's right here. Blast it with a little mid-tone. Blast it with a little white. Blend that in a little. Blam. Okay. So that looks like most of the pipe's done pretty quick. Touching that up a little bit. Mess with this a little. Okay. I think the only thing else I want to do is with this blue is this little building down here. And I'm going to try to keep the blue really dark for this. So I'm just using this blue here to just to get this little detail to pop out a little bit. I could have just left it that maroon and it would be fine. Also, I have revealed another pipe I missed while I was doing that. That's always good. Don't want to miss any of those because those are all kind of like continuity clues. Just gonna wipe the blue off that I got on that corner. It will be covered by washes later. So grab our mid-tone. Work it in there on the edge where I think light would be shining on it. Blam, and I'm going to grab a little bit more of my white. So my palette there. Here's my dark blue. Here's my light. Here's my mid-tone. And on this one, I'm going to try to bring it right in here, like the light is shining from this side. And then on this one, I'm going to bring it right just along this edge. So what that should do should give the effect like the light is kind of coming from this side more. as opposed to this side. So looks good. It's highlighted up a little bit brighter than the rest of the pipes and everything. That's okay, because it is kind of a cool little detail piece. I might, how much of this I got left? I do have a bit left, so do I have a smaller brush? That's the question. I do have a smaller brush. Oh, and I'll just throw the brand new clean brush right in the dirt. Alright, so got me a smaller brush. I can actually try to do a little bit of detail down here. I feel like I feel like somebody's cooking breakfast because I can smell it. Smells like bacon and eggs. Who's cooking breakfast? What is going on? But I'm just going to add, for continuity's sake, I'm going to say that some of the blue is like plastisteel or whatever they use. And the green is that concrete that they use. Or maybe the red is. I don't know. I want to put some more of this blue on a few things that I feel like need it structurally. There, oh, good. The other pieces falling. I want to put blue on that cap up there. Blue on that. I think I'll do that orange though. Okay, cool. So now I'm gonna grab a new palette because why am I gonna grab a new palette? Because I gotta make some of this orange, and I had like greens all over everything, and try to put orange and green together, you just get brown. So I got my red Alzerian crimson, cadmium yellow, and some yellow ochre. That is how I'm going to start this. We doing good out there in YouTube land? Y'all give a try. I'm gonna try to do like an early stream, middle of the day stream, and a late stream while I can. Just to try to give everybody a chance to join me, put a little input, tell me what they like about it, tell me what they don't like about it. Tell you what, that crimson is serious. Awesome. That's wonderful. Where you are, Whoa Tiger? You across the pond or whatever they say? You in Europe? Is that why it's halfway through the day or something? I'm in the US, so it's not super early morning, but it is earlier north of Sweden. Brr. That sounds, just saying that sounds cold. That's cool though. Super dig it. I'd love to go to Sweden. So I'm gonna do this corrugated with this very gross orange. In fact, I might want a little bit more. Yellow ochre in that because it's a very, very red orange. That's awesome. I think I was looking at some pictures of Finland and the fjords and the North Sea and that whole thing. I watched a really interesting documentary on the North Sea. But hella cool. Super cool that you're hanging out with me. I never had a friend from Sweden before. So this corrugated cardboard already seems like it's going to be super monotonous because I can only really paint it up and down, but that means it's going to be really pretty easy to shade, I think. So I think I might have a technique to shade it. I just might not be giving you guys the best camera shots, because whoever built this piece of terrain was crazy. Should I run through this with a bigger brush real quick? Then I'll come back with the smaller brush and get the edges and stuff. So this orange isn't really my favorite color. It's not not doing it for me. I kind of like this redder that I started out with, but I lightened it up with the yellow ochre, and I probably shouldn't have. I should have probably stuck with that redder one, is what my gut is telling me. But I can always do what I said, that, you know, when you're first beginning messing with this, you shouldn't. But I'm going to kind of do like a dark shade, and I'll probably actually try to, I don't know if you noticed, there's like green shading here and orange shading on this side of the yellow, here and here. That's to delineate the warm tones of this versus the cool tones of this. So I might try to do something similar to that, which is put more warm tones on this side of it. So oh, sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, this corrugation is a little bit of a pain. It's hard to get coverage everywhere on it. It's not too big of a deal. The black wash will settle in the corrugation really well. It's just triggering my OCD, and I want to get paint on every little section, so I'm just going to have to take a deep breath and let go of that and move on to the next step. We're getting there though. We're getting there. And I probably can go back and hit any kind of like over brushing that I did anywhere where I got paint mistakenly. I can probably go with a wet brush and clean it up. I'm not gonna try to be messy, but I'm also not gonna stress about it too bad. Like I said, I got 8 more pieces of these to do, so I can't sit here and struggle on corrugation. So now I'm gonna add a little white. Again, making a mid-tone. And I think I'm just gonna start right in the center Okay, now I'm going to take this even lighter and I'm just going to run it over the top of the corrugation. Guys, doesn't look that great on this camera, but you can see where I'm putting these highlights, and they look good because they're only on the top of the corrugation. Because I'm only going left to right. Then instant highlight. It's not it's not so recognizable on this camera, unfortunately, but if I did regular oils on this, it would probably be like a week. Maybe more. I've had oil paintings take months to dry, so it depends on where you are, I suppose. If you're in a more arid climate, they'll dry faster. Obviously, in a more humid climate, it's going to take longer. So, but I dig how that orange came out. I did miss a couple areas, which I'm just going to touch up real quick. Back behind her here where I can barely even see or reach. You guys can kind of see. And then I think I had some corrugation here. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in there like it was. Chunk of that or something. Done. I got a little corrugation up on the top. Continuity's sake, I'm going to paint it orange as well. tool. White. Well, I have this white and blue here. This here is packing foam. Yes, it's covered in spackle. In fact, if you want, Morgan, you can go check out my past live streams. I built this all live stream. So if you want to know exactly what I used, it's in that video. But I did notice I do got some corrugation up there, so I'm gonna fix that one up real quick. So the color is quite oversaturated here on this whole piece. These paints that I'm using are really strongly pigmented, but that's okay. That'll give me the ability to really go crazy with the washes, and that can make stuff look really cool. So again, I'm just base coating this piece. Then I'm gonna go against the corrugation with some lighter color. It'll give you a nice couple swoops of that. It'll give it a nice little highlight. Super easy, done. So what else I wanted to do real quick, I was gonna run the rest of my 60 minutes out. Got a little white. Man, I just wanted a little white, that's all. What happened to this brush? This brush exploded. But yes, this is styrofoam. Just a packing thing that I coated with spackle. Apparently the circus is alive upstairs, which means I'm gonna have to hop off here and deal with whatever the heck is going on up there. I was gonna finish this little detail I started to work on. While simultaneously putting my hand in wet paint. Didn't smear it so bad. When I start putting my hand in wet paint, that tells me that I gotta let stuff dry a little bit, because it's just going to get messed up the more I try to work on it without letting it dry. So there's my oversaturated colors. It's actually coming together pretty good. It will have to dry quite a bit before I throw any oil washes on it, so I will probably start on another piece before I do the oil washing. I will probably do one live stream where I do oil washing, so if anyone wants to catch how I do that, that will be a possibility. But it's not. It's kind of like gluing sand on stuff that, like, once you get it, you kind of get it. So. But I think I am going to hop off this, go make the family some breakfast, get life going, and I'll probably be back on around noon, 1-ish Eastern Standard Time. So I'm in the U.S. So noon New York time, I'll be back. But thank you everyone for hanging out with me. Y'all have a wonderful day, and if I catch you next time, wonderful. If not, it was great talking to you all and chilling with you. And thanks for watching Blur's Craft, and I'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.